You guys loved our England Scary Urban Legends, so we're back with another one. Except we noticed that England has specific places where it's so haunted, I would advise each and every single one of you to avoid it, but I already know this won't stop you. So I'm here to bring you your top 10 haunted places you shouldn't visit in England. At our number 10 spot, we have Pendle Hill. The trials of the Pendle witches are among the most famous witch trials in English history and some of the best recorded of the 17th century. The 12 accused witches lived in the same area surrounding Pendle Hill in Lancashire. They were charged with the murders of 10 people by the use of witchcraft. Basically, the majority of these witches were a part of two major families notorious for hating one another. And as many witch trials went, someone accused another, they accused this person blamed this person, now everyone is being accused. It wasn't until the villagers were dying by means unnatural when the townsfolk decided to condemn these people as witches and execute them. 10 of the 13 were hung, with many having no chance to defend themselves. Nowadays, people claim the ghosts of the witches are still in the area, with many feeling immense anger when visiting the grounds. At our number 9 spot, we have Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Blackpool Pleasure Beach is an amusement park on Blackpool's South Shore. There's specific rides at this park that is supposedly haunted, and that is the Ghost Train, which was built in 1936 with the claim of being the world's most haunted ghost train. Seems like it lives up to its name because visitors say that this ride is haunted by the ghost of Cloggy. Then in 2004, the ride was investigated by paranormal investigators, and they claimed that it had something dark behind it. Cloggy was said to be a former member of staff, but after his passing, it seems like he's still devoted to his role. Guest claims he resides in the end room of the ride where you see these skeletons riding bikes. Sometimes he'll be in one of the bikes greeting you. At number 8 spot, we have Rayleigh Hall. Rayleigh Hall is a country house built back in the 1600s, and after nearly 400 years, it stands strong to this day, but it has a dark history attached to it as well. The story goes that in the 1700s, Lady Dorothy Walpole of Rayleigh Hall was met with an unfortunate fate. She was accused of adultery and was ordered to confine her life within the walls of the home. She would eventually pass away from smallpox, but this was by far the last time we would see from her. These eerie photos capture the infamous Brown Lady of Rayleigh Hall as she descended down a staircase in the building. She's called the Brown Lady because every time visitors claim to see her, she's wearing a brown brocade dress. The first documented sighting of Lady Dorothy occurred back in 1835. A visitor said he saw a shadowy woman in an old-fashioned brown dress with hollow sockets for eyes. Nowadays, she is seen watching guests as they explore the building, but in only rare cases she will attempt to grab unsuspecting people. At our number 7 spot, we have the Hampton Court Palace. The Hampton Court Palace was built in 1514, but it wasn't until 1528 where King Henry VIII lived there with his 6 wives. But having that many wives proved detrimental in the afterlife, as many people suspect the palace to be haunted by the ghosts of his ex-wives and many others who lost their life at the palace. Some of Henry's wives are spotted at the palace, including his 3rd wife, Jane Seymour, who tragically passed away in the palace after giving birth. She is said to be walking the corridors holding a lit candle and is usually close to where she passed away giving birth. Another one is his 5th wife, Catherine Howard, who was accused of adultery then dragged into what is known now as the Haunted Gallery. She was later executed in the Tower of London, but it's said that her screams are heard in the gallery at late nights when no one is around. Then in more recent times, CCTV footage caught a supposed ghost at the Hampton Palace. For 3 nights in a row, cameras recorded the exact same fire escape door opening and closing, but on the 2nd night, a slender cloaked figure peeked out of it, and here it is. At number 6 spot, we have Whitby Abbey. Best known as an inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula, Whitby Abbey has its own fair share of spooky happenings. These ruins, located in Yorkshire, are said to be home of one of the first monasteries, a place where Vikings ransacked, and also a place where Dracula supposedly visited in the form of a dog. In the late 1800s, King Henry VIII, remember the guy I mentioned with the 6 wives? Yeah, he lost a lot of possessions confiscated from this place. One particular story that pops up from this place involves a nun named Constance de Beverley. She supposedly fell in love with a handsome knight and broke her vow of chastity. When she got caught, she was bricked up alive in the dungeons of this place. Her screams were so loud that she could be heard for days, but now people claim to hear her painful screams and the sounds of her pleading for forgiveness. The area where she was bricked up was never uncovered, which makes many believe she was never fully laid to rest. At the hump of our list, we have the Chillingham Castle. This is deemed by people all around the world to be England's most haunted castle. Chillingham Castle was built all the way back in the 13th century, and for interesting facts, this is the place where King Edward I stayed at before defeating William Wallace, infamous for being the leader for the First War on Scotland's independence. Then over the years, this place has seen countless battles between English and Scots, so many lives were lost here around the castle. One of the most popular ghost stories within the castle involved the Blue blue or radiant boy who is seen in the castle's pink room and can be heard wailing his eyes out, and sometimes people would claim a boy wearing all blue approaching them before vanishing out of thin air. Another spirit is the ghost of Lady Berkeley, wife of Lord Grey. She was abandoned by her husband and left in the castle to perish. As well, you can hear her weeping as she roams the halls looking for her husband. Many guests report her when they hit a random cold spot in the building. I'm all about castles, but I really don't want to hear crying all day, so no thanks. At their number 4 spot, we have Borley Rectory. This house was famous for being described as the most haunted house in England by psychic researcher Harry Price. Built in 1862, the house was installed as a residence for the parish rector and was instantly the subject of local gossip. Even before the construction of the building, the area where it stands was said to be haunted by the ghost of a nun who many claimed as the Nun's Walk. According to lore, the nun fell in love with a monk in the area. Everything was fine until they got caught. The monk would be executed for his crimes and the nuns bricked up alive within the cellar walls. When the building was completed, the first owners reported unexplained footsteps and even the face of a nun staring at them from a distance. Another incident was when the first owner's adopted daughter was attacked by an evil presence after being trapped in that room. Following the incident, the family noticed bizarre marks on the wall looking as if the ghost contacting the wife. This is when an exorcism took place but failed after the reverend would be struck by rocks and stones. Eventually the house burned down in 1939 and now all that remains is the ruins of this haunted house. At number 3 spot we have Boltons Bench. Located in Lyndhurst, England lies Boltons Bench, which is a grassy knoll great for taking walks, but before that it was said that a dragon flew around the area. According to lore, a large dragon supposedly terrorized the village of Burstein before one brave knight, Sir Maurice de Berkeley, offered to assist. The knight waited patiently with his hounds in the goal of catching the dragon off guard, waiting to attack it when it emerged to grab its daily supply of milk. The knight and his hounds pursued the dragon as it fled after being ambushed. The Burstein dragon was finally slain outside of Lyndhurst, where it fell to its death and created the knoll now known as Boltons Bench. Now yew trees stand atop the Boltons Bench, but who knows, maybe you'll catch a glimpse of a dragon, or even better yet, the dragon bones might be lying just below you. At number 2 spot we have Minsden Chapel. Minsden Chapel, located in the wooded area of Hertfordshire, dates back to the origins back in 14th century. Everything we talked about on this list is old, so what did you expect? Here lies a ruined chapel with a dark history associated with it. Reginald Hine was a local historian who researched into the chapel's history extensively. He did so much he ended up falling in love with the place altogether. It was during one of his visits in 1907 that his companion W.T. Latchmore photographed a phantom monk coming out of the ruins. Then after a few decades, Reginald took his own life from strange circumstances at a railway station. It's said that he calmly stepped in front of a train while in the midst of a conversation with one of his friends. At number 1 spot we have the Tower of London. Since its creation in 1067 AD, the Tower of London has gone through a dark and bloody history. This tower harbors many ghosts, so focus up. In 1483, 2 young princes were murdered inside of the tower, which were discovered underneath a staircase 200 years later. Now guests claim to see the shadowy apparitions of 2 lost boys holding hands as they walk through the halls and floors of the tower. Another spirit is that of Anne Boyle, who was imprisoned and beheaded in the tower in 1536. Many guests claim to see a headless person pacing back and forth the tower at night. And then in 1864, a soldier guarding the tower apparently spotted the headless figure and attempted to stab it, but it's a ghost, so it just went right through it. Well, these are the top 10 haunted places you shouldn't visit in England. What place should we cover next? There's so many haunted places, so I want to know in the comments section below. I'm your host Andrew, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.